latest pictures of international terrorist Hafiz Saeed in Sindh area of Pakistan. These are exclusive pictures accessed by Headlines today. Ostensibly, this is a medical camp, a relief camp organized by Falah in Insaniyat. This is the new terrorist organization front of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jamaat-ud-Dawa. This has been ostensibly engaged in welfare activities, in medical activities across Pakistan. But this, according to sources in the Intelligence Bureau, is a front to recruit new terrorists. And that is exactly what sources say Hafiz Saeed is up to. That big story that we're breaking here exclusively on Headlines today. The Intelligence Bureau has issued an alert along the Rajasthan and Gujarat border. There could be a major infiltration attempt. There could be a major terror strike in the next couple of days or weeks. Police forces across the Indo-Pak border are on a state of high alert. And Brigadier Mahalingam, what makes this situation all the more sensitive? Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow, and every time that an Indian Prime Minister visits the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the terrorists try to make their presence felt. That terror is still alive.
Yes, it has been happening. You are aware that in 2002, before Vajpayee visited, we had Abdul Ghani Lone being assassinated. And in 2013, before Manmohan Singh visited that place, we had an incident where 8 soldiers were killed in Haidarpura area.
Yes.
Therefore, now this time, Prime Minister Modi is going. The special thing about Prime Minister Modi's visit is he is visiting immediately immediately after a month's time. He hasn't taken time.
Yes.
And secondly, he is not only going and doing something for the welfare of the people, he is also going to go for a briefing in headquarters 15 Corps,
yes,
which is a unique thing. No Prime Minister till date has ever been there. Therefore, Hafiz Saeed is aware of all this, and today the TTP is fully on the back of the Pakistan army, yes, and he appears to be without job, and he must be finding a job for himself and creating problem against India, because he is an asset, and for the Pakistan a strategic asset, and he has to extract money till such time he disowns ISI and joins Al-Qaeda.
Okay, but here is the strategic asset of the ISI and Hamza. What sources in the Intelligence Bureau are also telling Headlines today that he's visited families of the 26/11 terrorists, those terrorists who had visited, who had attacked Mumbai. And Rizal, I want to put that question to you. He's been visiting these terrorists, he's been paying money to their families. Is his visit to this entire Punjab, Sindh area very significant, the timing of this visit?
Well, you know, anytime Hafiz Saeed pops up at any place near the Indian border, I would be worried, because, you know, that's not a good sign, because, I mean, let's face it, the Jamaat-ud-Dawa is possibly one of the best organized terror groups across the border. It's something that we have to worry about. And this man is somebody who, in the guise of all these medical camps and drought relief measures and flood relief measures, he has built up an extensive network. Today, when there is a natural disaster in Pakistan, one of the biggest responses is from the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. This prepares the grounds for him to get more sympathy, to get more recruits. So it's something that we should be worried about.
Okay.
And the fact that he's been paying off the families of those who died and taking care of them, it's kind of sends out a signal to other people that if they join and if anything happens to them, their families will be taken care of.
Okay, General, the world sees this man as a global terrorist. Lashkar-e-Taiba is banned, Jamaat-ud-Dawa is banned, his lieutenants are banned, he's banned, and yet he moves across Pakistan with impunity.
Yeah, his terrorist group is fit, alive and kicking. The point I want to make is this, that while Hafiz Saeed may be seen opposite Rajasthan, the question is let's not take our eye off the line of control and where the Prime Minister is going. So if the alert is against the international border, trouble will be on the line of control. You know, that's a strategic trick that is always played. So last time he was on the line of control in Poonch, it happened at Poonch. It's not necessary that the same logic will apply.
Yes.
Because it's okay to say that this area is good for infiltration, but for an effective, visually exciting and a strike, it's the line of control. So I would think that the area to watch is the line of control.
I just want to add one thing to what General Mehta said. He is very correctly pointed out.
Yes.
If you are aware, this morning there was an attack for infiltration bid in Krishna Ghati sector.
Yes.
And yesterday morning again there was a bid for infiltration in Poonch area.
Yes.
Therefore, this is a very vulnerable thing, and we have the troops in the LOC will have to watch out, and also troops inside the police and the paramilitary forces which are inside in the depth areas too will have to watch out, because he would like to send a message when Prime Minister Modi is there. And not to forget, the Prime Minister Modi's security will have to be absolutely foolproof, because there was an attempt when he went to Jammu during the election campaign, and then immediately 2 days after they carried out that attack in the Samba area.
Yes. And of course, Prime Minister Modi, then of course he was aspiring to be Prime Minister. The attack, the Indian Mujahideen attack on his rally in Bihar, he has been a target of these terrorists. Former Secretary Internal Security T.R. Kakkar also joins us on the broadcast. Mr. Kakkar, you're looking at these pictures of Hafiz Saeed being spotted in Sindh during a recruitment drive. The Prime Minister is going to be in Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow. He's visiting Uri, he's visiting Srinagar, he's visiting Katra, he's going to Vaishno Devi, all along the international border and along the 770-kilometer long line of control. There is clear and present danger, Mr. Kakkar.
First of all, about Hafiz Saeed, the question is, all of us know that he heads a terrorist organization, and it has now been recognized by the international community as such, that he is a terrorist and he is out to harm Indian interests. Somehow he is a prop for the Pakistan ISI, or let's say Pakistan establishment. They perhaps use him against India, and they use him and show all the time, they show that he is involved in charitable activities, medical activities, things like that. He is not. Now, as regards visit of our Honorable Prime Minister is concerned, let me assure you, and let us assure the listeners also, that every possible precaution must have been taken by now to ensure that his visit goes smoothly. After all, these are the things which we cannot tell people as to what is precisely being done. But let me assure you that everything must have been done by now, and if there is any doubt, perhaps the PM's visit to these areas will be called off. But it is not going to take place, because this is how can a nation such as India not afford to see that their Prime Minister visits his areas in his own country just because somebody across the borders is intending to harm our interests or intending to harm the Prime. So let people must be reassured that everything possible has been done and it has really been done.
Of course, no, there are no two ways about that. No question of the Prime Minister, there is no talk of Prime Minister, calling off his visit or anything of that sort. It's just the danger that Hafiz Saeed poses. And Sushant Sareen, the point here is that one, he's exploring new areas, he's trying to recruit new people, and that conversation that has taken place between Pakistani Hindus in Sindh and their relatives in India, and the conversation that they've had with the district magistrate in Jaisalmer, that sounds very, very ominous. That sounds very, very sinister in this situation.
No, you see, that is something which has been going on for quite some time now, and in fact, the Hindus inside Pakistan, they suffer a fate worse than death in many ways. But let me give you some breaking news. The fact of the matter is, Hafiz Saeed is like the CEO of a terror incorporated company, and he has been traveling all across his branch offices, and apparently this whole circus is going to end tomorrow. in Karachi, where at the Bagh-e-Jinnah he is going to be delivering a lecture. Now that is what is ostensibly the reason behind this tour all along this thing, and he's probably checking out on the network which he has built up over the years. Now the fact of the matter is that there are huge billboards all across Karachi announcing his lecture tomorrow at Bagh-e-Jinnah, which is, I think, the Jinnah Memorial Park, which is right outside the mausoleum of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So much for Pakistani secularism of the founder of Pakistan. But the fact of the matter remains that, in fact, there is a new book which is coming out which exposes the Lashkar-e-Taiba Jamaat-ud-Dawa network, not just in Pakistan, not just in India, but all across the world, in almost 20 to 25 countries. It's a very explosive book which is coming out. I've just managed to get some rushes of it. And it's scary because apparently, according to this Pakistani author who's written this book, these guys have something like 300,000 to 500,000 men who are trained people, who are members of civil society, who are members of government organizations. They are in the army, they are in the police, they are in the administration, they are all over the place. So really this organization is slowly but steadily emerging like a state within a state. But I really wonder if Hafiz Saeed is going to be Amirul Momineen, then what his relationship with the other Amirul Momineen or Caliph called Mullah Omar is going to be, and how these two guys are going to interact with the third Mullah Omar or third Caliph who is now growing up in Iraq. And I don't know how that is going to play out. But clearly, you know, the Pakistanis are playing with fire by continuing to promote this fellow, and we are going to have to pay also a price for that.
We indeed will have to. And Sambit, this isn't just about, government is doing something and we should let it be. This is something that the government needs to come out and reassure people that when terrorists like Hafiz Saeed are roaming around in this area, when they are terrorizing people, government is taking effective measures, and perhaps those measures, some of them at least, can be shared with the people.
Now, I believe, Gaurav, our intention and our commitment in the right place, it is in the place where it should be. We're reassured and we're reaffirmed.
Okay, I'll try and reestablish that line with Sambit Patra, the BJP spokesperson, in just a moment. General Mehta, when you look at that phone conversation that we were just talking about, Pakistani Hindus saying, Hafiz Saeed is telling them, the Jamaat-ud-Dawa is telling them, either you join my terrorist organization, either you join my jihad against India, or I will kill your families and we will kill you. What is it that government of India can do in this situation when their relatives in India reach the administration and say, do something and help them?
Well, I think government of India can certainly do something about this, and that is that they can provide the tapes or the details of that conversation. And because India has always talked about the protection of the Hindu minority inside Pakistan, the Hindus and the Sikhs, so that's one way that in the bilateral talks that they have, this evidence can be presented. But larger than just what India can do, I think is the larger threat that this particular operation can pose in a longer term scenario, and that is that a Hindu terrorist, Pakistani Hindu terrorist groups is something that if it materializes, it can be a very potent force outside Kashmir, and in these areas where the Lashkar-e-Taiba has not attempted any major operations. Lashkar-e-Taiba itself, I think, has global intentions, and the book that Sushant Sareen is referring to talks specifically about their ambition to acquire nuclear warheads. And we have heard and read from so many US analysts about LET's global reach, about the Bruce Riddell, for example, has got a book out on the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and it talks about the danger that the Lashkar-e-Taiba poses not just to Afghanistan and Kashmir, but across the globe.
Yes,
and I think that's
this
something
dirty
we have
bomb,
to watch out.
Absolutely, this dirty bomb that you talk about, Lashkar-e-Taiba very close to acquiring a dirty bomb, and they don't need a huge nuclear warhead. Even a small dirty bomb that they acquire, which they themselves, and this book that talks about they being very close to acquiring one, poses major danger to India. Brigadier Mahalingam, in a situation like this, is India doing enough to bring this man to justice? Coaxing, cajoling Pakistan cannot be the only alternative, cannot be the only route that India has.
First of all, I must tell you that the government of India till today has not understood the potentials of the special forces. You have the special forces, both army as well as the National Security Guard. Both these forces are quite capable and competent to deal with this particular man very effectively. What the Americans did in respect of the Al-Qaeda leader, the Indian Army Special Forces as well as the National Security Guards are quite capable of that. All that is required is, it requires time, it requires the cooperation and the efforts of various agencies, and this man can be dealt with and a final full stop put to his activities.
What Brigadier Mahalingam misses out is the vital element, and that is political will.
Okay,
so you may have the capability,
yes,
but you need the political will.
You can do it, and we must be very clear in our mind that this man can be dealt with very, very effectively.
Okay, but do we even need to use our special forces or National Security Guard, Sushant Sureen, if India wants? If we have the political will, as General Mehta points out, you don't even need to use your own men to take out an international terrorist.
No, in fact, I think you've got it much better than what the Brigadier and what General Mehta are saying. You really don't need to sully the hands of Indian security forces to get this guy. But you know, it's not just about this fellow. There is a larger problem which we are not attentive to. Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jamaat-ud-Dawa is not just Hafiz Saeed. If Hafiz Saeed was not there, there would be another Hafiz Saeed who would take over. So the problem is much larger than just this one crook. And that is what we need to be alive to. And that is what we need to be working at, on how to ensure that, number one, these guys can't set up their cells inside India. They have no space for operating inside India. Number two, that how do you clean the swarms from where these guys come from? And number three is the mental battle or the ideological battle, which not just India or Pakistan or for that matter any other country in the world has to fight. That is a global fight.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that has still not been joined. So, you know, to just take out, send in a couple of guys to bump this guy off, I don't think that's going to give us the answer to the larger problem which we are going to be facing.
Frankly, I mean, this is a hydra-headed monster.
And
you
just
cut
let
off
me add
one head,
small thing.
there'll be another head who will come up.
Let me add one sentence.
Yes.
You know, you have to see Hafiz Saeed and company in terms of a larger global jihadist incorporated kind of a system which has come into thing. Now let me give you an example. In ISIS, if you've seen the latest maps and the latest rhetoric of the ISIS, they talk about recovering lands in Europe, including the old Roman Empire.
Yes.
Hafiz Saeed also talks about the same thing. So there is a continuum which is running right from Morocco in the west to Moro Islands in the Philippines.
Yes.
There is a continuum of this jihadist rhetoric, this jihadist nonsense which is being spread. And that is what we really
this
need to
needs
fight.
to be checked.
Just
And
taking out
Nagma,
one guy or one organization is not going to give you the answer.
And Nagma, in this situation, can we expect the Congress and the BJP to be on the same page? Can we expect India's political parties to be on the same page to deal with this Pakistan-sponsored terror? And of course, the Indian Mujahideen terrorist organization within our country.
Definitely, I think one has to rise above this party politics and look at him as an international terrorist. He has about 2,500 offices. The Jamaatul Dawa has 2,500 offices and 11 seminaries itself, and he has that kind of a network in Pakistan. Why are we having these peaceful talks with Pakistan? Why can't Pakistan hand over him to us? So definitely we have to rise above politics, and we all have to get together and somehow get hold of him, because he is a mastermind after all, who has been a mastermind of so many attacks, including the Mumbai attack and so many other attacks that have happened here.
Spot on. But is this your personal view, or is this the view of the Congress party? Because Brigadier Mahalingam and of course, Mr. Kakkad, you've been Special Secretary Internal Security, you've headed the National Security Guard, you've been Delhi Police Commissioner. Unfortunately, what we lack in this country is a national will and politicians rising above political differences to take on this Pakistan-sponsored terror, sir.
Gaurav, let's not even for a second think that on these issues the Congress or the BJP will not join hands. After all, this is question of national security. Leave that aside for the time being. He is in Pakistan. He is doing what he wants to do. Presently, the only thing that we need to do is to ensure, as Mr. Sareen was saying, to ensure that he is not given any ground, or his setup is not given any opportunity to create cells in our country which can create trouble for us. That is the first thing that we have to do. The other thing is how to bump him off, or who bumps him off and all that. Somebody was suggesting that we could send the special forces and the NSG and all that. I am not doubting the capability of our forces, but in these sort of conflicts, I wonder if this approach will really work. It will not. If that, and whether the people want to go up to the Roman Empire and wherever they want to, let me tell you, if that sort of a situation arises, the world is not going to keep quiet. After all, you have the Western world and all that, they will not be keeping quiet in such situations. So let's not talk of things which are not possible.
No, but there is clear and present danger. There is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi who wants his caliphate. There is this Hafiz Saeed who wants his caliphate. And there is the Pakistan army that appears to be fighting a losing battle against the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And if Pakistan army collapses, Sushant Sareen, there is going to be hell to buy, not just for Pakistan, but for this region.
They can talk of going to the moon and to the sun. The point is, the world is not going to keep quiet. Presently, what we need to do is to make sure that in our country, they are unable to set up cells as they were doing somewhere else.
Sushant
That is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Gaurav, frankly, I wouldn't put anything in store of what the world will do or not do. I think we need to bank upon what we can do and how we can protect ourselves. And frankly speaking, I kind of agree with you that the Pakistan army is not going to get the better of the Taliban, partly because they are hand in glove with those guys, partly because the Pakistan army's own ideological orientation is so messed up that I don't think they know what they want to fight against and who they want to fight against. But frankly, I'm not very worried whether the Pakistan army wins or loses this battle, because as my friend Arif Jamal, whose book I'm talking about, says that there are only two kinds of Pakistan army officers. There are the nationalist jihadis and there are the Islamist jihadists. So there's very little for us to choose between the two. So you can either have a jihadist in Mufti or you can have a jihadist in the khaki uniform which these guys wear.
Is what
the other thing is that, we keep, this fear has been spread in India of the jihadists taking over. Let's face the facts, Gaurav. When these so-called moderate, liberal, English-speaking, whiskey-swiveling guys have been in power for the last 60-odd years in Pakistan, it wasn't as though they were very well-disposed towards India or they had very good intentions towards India. They also tried to bleed us and damage us and destroy us in every which way they could.
Yes.
Now, how much worse are these mullahs going to do to us? So, you know, I'm not very worried about these guys come to power. I think the Pakistani elite, which has sponsored these guys, should worry about them much more than what we should.
Oh, absolutely.
They can't throw anything more at us than what the elite or the English-speaking guys haven't already done.
We need to sort out our home first. We need to ensure there are no local terrorists for these Lashkar-e-Taiba, Pakistani terrorists to exploit during next 26/11, God forbid.
No. Sushant Sareen talks about, quite rightly, from Morocco or Mali all the way to the Moro Islands, this crescent of instability. We've seen what's happening in Iraq right now. So it is okay to say that let the mullahs and the military rule in Pakistan, but don't forget that the spillover or whatever happens in Iraq travels to Afghanistan.
Yes.
The spillover of Afghanistan travels to Pakistan, and the spillover of Pakistan will inevitably travel to India.
To Jammu and Kashmir, to Rajasthan, to Gujarat.
So we have to worry. We have to worry, and we have to do two things. One is to strengthen the fences that we have set up.
Yes.
Those fences have to be set up, and we have to have an out-of-area capability, a greater deterrent, where you can inflict punishment, because
inflicting punishment on Pakistan, clearly, as the general says, on these Pakistani terrorists could well be the need of the hour, and India doesn't have to dirty its hands. There is clear and present danger. We leave you with that word of caution. I'd like to thank all my guests for being a part of this broadcast. We'll track this story, Hafiz Mohammad Saeed's movements, very, very closely, and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Jammu and Kashmir. We'll get you all the news first up here on Headlines Today.